contrarianism and half-trutherism, or whatever, just this lying, has its basis in knowing what you're saying is simply not true, and hoping no one will double-check it, and looking for people who don't double-check things, because then you filtered out anybody who might, challenge you. So let's go. From 13 states, one nation. Out of many, one. This overtly means unity from the many. The framers sharply disputed many issues in the formation of this nation, but E Pluribus Unum wasn't one of them. It is overtly stated that their intention of this was that this was explained. Okay, people who misquote the Second Amendment and the First Amendment and the 14th and misquote E Pluribus Unum's past, because facts, reality, history, all that's in the garbage. There is a very big reason some people, for some reason, are against the United States. Religion. And it's a overtly in-your-face violent religion. And it isn't Islam, it's Christianity. A overtly, over-the-top, murder you in front of witnesses religion. Don't like hearing that? Let's continue. The U.S. government lies about the all-seeing eye not being God, because we have separation of church and state in this country. It's a secular country. Separation of church and state means that the church is not allowed to run the government, and the government is not allowed to run the church. We separated them. And that's it. That is a gigantic red flag in the face of every religion that is based on, in history, historically based on rule without consent. Political rape of the public. We the people have the right to say, no, I don't like you that way. And this gets under people's skin that are religious, because they know, whether they want to admit it or not, and you can tell by the blood in their eyes, that any government that isn't ruled by their religion, it's literally heresy. In Renaissance Europe, iconography, the iconic meaning for the eye surrounded by a triangle, is an explicit image of the Christian Trinity. It is not a sign of the New World Order or the Illuminati, or what was said? No. Why do people have a problem with that and claim that it's, the New World Order or something, when every religious group knows that it's actually Christianity? That's Christian influence. Under God, or In God We Trust, are overt references to, and yes, they are, whether you like it or not. You can sledgehammer your head as hard as you want to, but it was based on demanding that the United States become a Christian country. The United States was founded by people who did not want that. The framers of the Constitution and the people who started this country were trying to escape a religiously backed up government that ignored the will of the people. And they saw that. Separation of church and state is done to prevent that. It's part of our checks and balances thing. Because throughout history, religion is just another way of saying political party you can't leave unless you die. Sort of like resisting Pinochet and being thrown out of a helicopter. Not a good meme to bring up, guys. Really not okay. So let's go for this. 17th century depictions of the Eye of Providence, or Providence, provenance and providence, two different things, Providence, sometimes show it surrounded by clouds and sunbursts. The Eye of Providence is the will of God, or may we have good luck, because crossing your fingers was actually about being religious too at some time. The eye of God in the triangle is still used in church architecture and Christian art to symbolize the Trinity and God's omnipresence and divine providence. The provenance of this is the Christian church. If you do not like having that thrown in your face, listen on. E Pluribus Unum is the motto of this country. Because we will be unified, no matter how hard other people want to divide us and conquer us. However, shoehorning, without lube and covering it with sand and salt, Christianity into the religion by jamming it into the rule of law and making it our new motto for the United States by demanding that "In God We Trust" be jammed into it, is one of those things that religious groups do. That's why they're so dead set against it being removed. Because if you do remove it, it removes the overt, obvious, we're going to influence and overrule the government. It removes the obvious, we're going to overthrow your government attitude that every religion has had towards every other government that it's come in contact with. This is by design. This is a warning. This is a shot across the bow. This is an in-your-face trolling behavior by the church to say that you will never ever escape us. Sort of like the Chinese government says that if you leave their country, they will literally send agents to the United States and get away with it and have them harass you in the streets so that you can never be out of reach of the Chinese government. Because that literally happens. Sort of like if you are a dissident from Russia, you're going to have an accident. Why do you call it Russian suicide but deny the Russians do this shit? Next, the lines by a Roman poet named Virgil are used on the Great Seal. It's that old. Annuit, coeptis, favor our undertakings. It's prayer. Please favor our undertakings. It's not being said to Caesar, and it's not a sign of the Illuminati and Balloonati. Look up what a balloon knot war looks like, and you'll understand why I use that expression. Novus, ordo, seclorum, new order of the ages, should be removed. I do believe so. Novus ordus seclorum, new order of the secular, would be more appropriate. This country is not a Christian country. Doesn't matter if you want to scream it as loud as possible. Every time you say the United States was founded on Christianity or something, what you're saying is you want to rewrite history where it said separation of church and state, as in the church is excluded from interfering. And what happened? During the Cold War, during communism, fear-mongering, and the Red Scare, certain idiots were talked into adding religious statements in. And the only examples of this are always referred to as feigning religion. And, oh, these statements are just said over and over again. They don't have any religious meaning anymore. That's horseshit. Of course it does. Speaking as an atheist helicopter pilot, I can tell you for a fact, as an attack helicopter, that this is literally a way of weaseling religion into the government. Always having just a little dinky bit in there just to irritate people who are secularists. Oh, well, you're an evil secularist. Yeah, I don't want a religion which has no way of being voted out and has no morals, because all religions base their morals on their own rules, not on society's rules. I'm absolutely dead set against religion having anything to do with it. You shouldn't teach abstinence in schools instead of how human biology works. Yeah, reality is much more important to me than your feels. And one person's statement, I believe your beliefs are not relevant anymore, nor is your opinion. Out of many, one was and still is referring to the New World Order. You're just wrong about that, and the thing is that it's extremely well traced back. There was a discussion about it, not a controversy. It's not a sign of the New World Order. Under the dollar barrel and under the pyramid and the all-seeing eye, the state seal, these are all signs of some sort of influence. Well, yes, in God we trust, and under God and the all-seeing eye, it's not the all-seeing eye, it's the eye of God, are signs of subterfuge and a subtle hint towards some sort of attempt at a new world order. It's the Christian fundamentalists trying to weasel their way in. Because they were the majority religion at one time in the United States, and they didn't like that you weren't required to show up on Sunday. They didn't like that Sunday laws were ignored or abolished. They didn't like the fact that us godless hordes would just simply refuse to join their religion and pay them tithing. So much so that the Christian religion in the United States isn't a for-profit activity. It's a non-profit activity. Humorously, I like to say that. Sorry to trigger everybody, but history, reality, and actual documentation contradicts your beliefs. And I'm going to say this again. E Pluribus Unum has been demonized because it was our motto, and the motto was changed to "In God We Trust," because religions want to take over the United States. Because they don't care. There isn't any consequence for them. They believe even if you, I don't know, execute people for treason, they'll still go to heaven if they're morally righteous. Especially after they kill a bunch of people. I don't consider this a debatable point, but thank you for your comment.